Welcome back to the HGC Eastern Clash in Taipei, Taiwan, where KSV Black has once again taken the lead, just one map win away, crowning themselves the champion of the tournament.
All they got to do now is draft themselves a Zarya composition. It's in the bag.
I feel like that last game was a lot of it. I mean, obviously, the team fight from KSV was very impressive, but I feel like a lot of it hinged on the fact that we saw Junkrat be able to make it through, and then also, again, the opportunity of moving into the Blaze. I feel like that we did see the Haka. That part of the reason I was talking about are we going to see them go with the Junkrat is because of how much control that provides. You know, I feel like Ballistix did all the things that they needed, especially opening up with that brilliant Dragon's Arrow into the isolation down below. But even with that, it's just not enough into the teamfight capabilities compared to some of those other heroes for them to be successful.
Especially when it comes to jungle, do we expect that we now, after this last game and how much of an impact they had here, we're going to see the ban again? Since KSV came in with a perfect record on the hero, and now given the map, Tomb of the Spider Queen, I feel that kind of has to be an auto ban on the side of Ballistix.
Either that or it has to be higher priority in the pick slot for them, but it does feel like because their draft is a bit more rigid in terms of their priorities, especially around the Hanzo, that it's very likely that will be the case, that they end up having to commit to it in the secondary ban phase. If not, I feel like it'll be another case of them having a lot of control.
It just seems, man, I don't know how I really feel about just this Hanzo dominant style, right? It seems like you have one clear path that you're going down if you're on the side of Ballistix, and it's a matter of like, can you get enough out of what's around it? It seems like compositionally it's hit or miss or just wide-ranging. It's very difficult for them to pull off. I think if they can continue to play around that style, maybe if they want to commit to the Tychus in the earlier part this time, that could go into play, especially considering the fact that KSV could potentially be going down the Garrosh route again.
Can I just say, though, the fact that Maiev has been a perma-ban for Ballistix and that they have made it to not only this point of the tournament, but even this competitive through the finals is...
It's insane.
It's insane. Like, it's impressive that they are able to do that and manipulate these drafts and be that good with it. You know what? I mean, again, talking about the, rigidness towards the Hanzo and that playstyle as well, and they're still holding their own.
This is the 10th time in the 10th game now that they've banned Maiev. No matter what position they are. First pick, second pick, it doesn't matter. They don't want to play against Maiev, but they also feel extremely uncomfortable picking her.
You know what I feel comfortable is picking a Tracer into a Malfurion, because that is not an Uther pick. And it's something that, again, Tracer struggles to deal with at times against the Uther. Malfurion not the biggest threat because he lacks that burst healing, doesn't provide the armor in the same manner that Uther does. Got to find different ways to keep Tracer alive, however, but it is Tomb of the Spider Queen where you tend not to stray too far from the rest of the team.
Really like that Tyrael Tracer rotation because it does stir any opportunity, because we know, you picked up the Uther, or excuse me, the Malfurion, you're not going to pick up the Uther, removing one of the invulnerabilities, plus it accents, a lot of the siege opportunities, and it's not too shabby with the Tracer as well. The mobility, the shields, everything alike. They're a pretty good dive duo. What do we see from Ballistix? I want to Junkrat in this rotation.
Going Hanzo scares me a bit, because now you have two vulnerable targets on the backside. You do get the Garrosh, you take that away from potentially there from KSV, despite them having the Tyrael, potentially the main tank. But the Hanzo Malfurion are great individual heroes, but I feel that the Tracer, they very much want that on the other side if you're KSV.
If they don't end up banning the Junkrat, I wonder if it's going to be the Malthael, but if you ban the Malthael, then we still see the Blaze, and I still have a lot of the same fears and opportunities, so much so that I would rather see you ban a Blaze over a Malthael, even though it's a direct counter, or not direct counter, but a counter to the Garrosh. Instead, the Junkrat, again, feel like that's the safest ban. Glad to see that here for Ballistix.
Coming back quickly to the point that you made when you talked about Hanzo, I feel the one thing that really is going to deter Tracer a bit is definitely going to be the 10 on Garrosh. Once that you get the taunt, and this is really where you will have opportunities to maybe take Tracer down. If the taunt hits and you can follow it up with Malfurion's Twilight Dream, then you have that kill opportunity against Tracer.
Also, something that's pretty neat with the kind of way this draft is unfolded, with the expectation of having the opportunity to get the Junkrat ban out, they didn't commit to the Malthael within that rotation, and instead picking up themselves the Uther and the fall set. But the biggest thing is that not only do you have the double invulnerability, but then you have the opportunity to still commit to the Malthael in there, and the Junkrat ban is going to make the Uther not be too concerned with that spread damage, that heavy poke that you normally see, and then you can have the opportunity, if you do somehow go with the Malthael, he's not going to have that one-shot threat that a lot of the Malthaels have had in this tournament. And what I mean is the Malthael getting one shot, right? Like we saw in game number 1.
I feel like they're going to go with a Greymane, and Blaze seems like it should be the case. I feel like if they go Greymane Blaze, then you probably met with something like an Arthas on the other side. Leo would be okay here, and potentially on the other side. So we end up with a Tassadar, which was kind of that outside weird factor of they've done this before with the SDE on the Tassadar, but it does well on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and it gives you that extra safety net with the Dimensional Shift in case of a Pulse Bomb. But Tassadar is still made of paper at this point. And now if you're on the side of KSV, you have the potential for Leoric to drain the life out of Garrosh. You have so many tools that you can utilize.
But Tassadar at least helps you to against Tracer in particular, and you raised the point earlier how vulnerable Hanzo can be against her. So outside of Garrosh Taunt, you now at least have another tool that helps him to survive if Tracer dives deep. What I still find really interesting is the high priority that KSV Black gives Falstad, especially given the map that we are looking at here.
There is what I honestly thought to be a pretty more, I guess not obvious, but at least a faster picked Malthael. The consideration there for KSV, again, with the Blaze being the 1-versus-1 advantageous matchup, I think the biggest deterrent there was actually the Tassadar. We saw Malthael composition really struggle into a Tassadar composition earlier because the that HP is so very low across the board. You had the opportunity for the Malfurion in that composition specifically to be able to get the out heal because Malthael's slow damage in. But I still feel like it's not only proper within the 1-versus-1, accents the teamfight capabilities as well.
Though I think the teamfight capability that maybe the reason I would like Leoric, when you look at the composition of KSV, they rely on getting a lot of picks. They like to get a lot of lockdown. Right now they're lacking that. Their only hard CC is going to be that of the Uther. They don't have a lot of control. Of course, you can get slows from Tyrael. Of course, Holy Ground is a good tool later in the game. But when it comes to the team fights, are they going to have the same functionality that we saw in previous drafts?
We're going to find out now. Keep in mind, this is the lead for KSV Black, so if they're able to close out the series here with the victory on Tomb of the Spider Queen, they crown themselves the champions. But of course, Ballistix is going to have different plans here. So guys, take it away.
Another pairing when talking about the Leoric versus what the Malthael trade-off, right, that I didn't think of at first glance was because the Falstad, get the split with the Gust, be able to try and get that threat. There is no immediacy, kind of save tool whatsoever in the composition that Ballistix has. Yeah, you do have the Tassadar to help out, but that's not going to be anything you can rely on to try and stall that out. But what you can rely on is possibly a bunker, so maybe that be a bit of the thought process again to try and move into it. Either way here, we're ready to see what unfolds here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Rich able to dodge out that route. If that had been there a second earlier, that could have been a very fast first blood.
Fortunately, he makes it out alive, and we'll see these teams. I got a feeling we're going to see a little bit of a slower start to this game than we might have seen in some of the other games, just because unless Garrosh really gets it with the root landing from Malfurion behind it, the kill potential is not tremendously high with this team. As we see Tiss getting thrown back.
Sake's burned all his heals. That's a cooldown he doesn't have available, and that's enough to get first blood now for Ballistix. Serial passive trying to gain value with the Pulse Bomb Magi. Not going to be enough. Jungha, anybody to connect with that jet propulsion, not so much because of a misclick or anything, literally just unable to curve the bullet that hard. You can kind of get it going around there, but not a full 180. It's a no U-turn zone.
At least you didn't tell me it's not a 360. Then we would have been in a little bit of trouble. But either way, we've got our first, and it was around that Garrosh, and I think it was an overcommitment there by KSV as they went in very aggressively, unable to confirm that kill. But again, I think a lot of the early game kill potential, if it does come on the side of KSV, will be based on Rich, and Rich trying to get those pulse bombs in the early game has a little bit better opportunities, I think, again, between the Tassadar, Hanzo, Malfurion. We'll see if he can make that happen, though.
With this night camp on mid, Ballistix should be able to get a pretty easy deny. I want to see how fast afterwards they try and respond with their own night camp to get the pressure outward. With the Tassadar Hanzo, it's pretty good clear here. And also the Garrosh to threaten off. Very good zoning capabilities. Really not too much to be gained here for KSV in this type of situation, but it's also just more about them, kind of waiting it out, looking towards those gems. You talked about expecting a bit of a slower start. I definitely think it will be a slower start for Ballistix. It's just whether or not KSV can find what they want onto the map. And it seems unlikely to get those kind of kills. Again, with that Tassadar, he's pretty safe from rotations. The biggest threat here is like if Malfurion kind of steps out a little bit too far. Other than that, it's just all about gems and those web weavers.
A lot of it comes down to the first turn-in and the zoning control. You have the Tassadar, who can kind of casually poke, use that size storm. You have Blaze, who can kind of casually poke. But on the other side, you've got Tyrael, and you've got the mobility of a Tracer. So the war of attrition, I think, will be definitely noticed around the first turn unless somebody just kind of really sneaks in the backside, and that is exactly what Rich just did, or Reset just did, as he got a handful of gems turned in there.
Malthil picking up the camp down below, though. KSV once again sending a group to be able to defend whenever they pick up the siege camp, but that night camp on mid is going to be a little bit more threatening.
Rich is sitting on a pulse bomb. And again, it's finding that opportunity, and Rich goes in. He tries to find that opportunity as Magi's going to be there. Testin team go in the backside, but Hooligan trying to turn around a kill for himself as he throws Reset back, but not enough damage to get that locked down as SC was under assault as well. But Rich making good use of that pulse bomb.
Yeah, you know, he treats it like it's a hot potato. He doesn't keep it on long. He's like, you know what, you want hot potato, you take that one. Hold up here, knock up to get the interrupt on this attempted turn-in. There are enough gems for KSV to get the first Web Weaver phase. They do not need every gem available, but there's not enough without Reset to start to channel at least quite yet for them to lock that in. Meanwhile, we see Jungha just kind of drop some off for himself. I feel like it is very much more on KSV, again, to make things happen in this earlier stages. If I'm Ballistix, if this goes to level 10 and not a Web Weaver phase has happened, I'm kind of going like, you know, this is pretty good. Like, I'm ready to fight now. Let's make things happen with this, again, sustainy, long teamfight-oriented composition.
Yeah, a lot of it will also come down to the questing talents. The Psystorm questing talent for Tassadar, much easier to complete on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Definitely will get that. You get the 500, then the 1,000.
Never lucky on that scattering arrow.
Never lucky.
You see how many bounces off? It legitimately felt like he had a protector around him. Just like no arrow zone was going to be Rich in that turn-in. No Tracer zone for Hooligan as he flips Rich over, forcing out that recall.
He's a lucky guy. Yeah, it could have been rough. And you know, trying to play safe here, we actually see Tassadar going into the extra range on his basic abilities, allowing him to kind of play a little bit safer, spread that damage around, not be in the dead zone, the target zone of the dive that we will see from Rich continuing here, as well as passing out some of those shields from distance, which are definitely going to be needed. And right now, they're going to need a bit of shielding because these structures are going to be falling pretty quickly here with KSV pushing in.
Yeah, Falsette's still remaining towards top lane, though, to deal with Tassadar. It's an interesting decision rather than committing here to the mid lane to get a little bit more poke and try and deal with this because, again, Hanzo Malfurion's pretty effective at getting the clear. Garish hard to siege into. Rich and friends, now they're going to look for that dive. No Pulse Bomb used yet, waiting for the passive use. Then it's going to be used, but look at that. Flight into the root doesn't even matter. Reset hits that Q, maximum range, barrel rolls out, and that is a kill for KSV.
They got the kill, and Rich continuing to put the pressure on. Jungha, he's managing to just survive there. But Dread, what was a 7.5 to 7.5 game is now a almost level 10 to just now level 8 for Ballistix.
And I feel like this is where it's going to get very, very ugly very quick here for Ballistix. They need to make sure that the next couple of minutes that they do not make any kind of mistake. This is where this game, again, not only because you have the 10s, you're going to be rounding what is a secondary Web Weaver phase. There's all three front walls were taken, by the way, which is going to allow for that free dive. When we talked about KSV's comp, it's like, well, look at Ballistix. They have the opportunity to get that stall, get that slow out here, and pretty good defense. But if KSV has no front walls to worry about, it's not going to be very easy to defend. We do see Ballistix get a turn-in, but we know, this isn't going to be the most profitable.
It's not at all because they just hit level 9. They'll be nowhere near level 10 until the end of the Web Weaver phase, so they have to be extremely careful. And I think that when you look at the Falstad, you could get these Flight Gust pre-level 10 because you know the threat isn't very much there. You don't have the safety option of the bunker. You don't have the taunt. So things like that are not available. And so if you want to be aggressive, here it is.
Falstad's looking for the flight in. Pulse Bomb dropped onto SC. It's enough to get the first kill. Sanctification, Indomitable used, but I don't know if it's going to matter. Hooligan gets one flip, it will matter. It's enough to buy time, and I really respect what we see there for KSV. This is very different than what we've seen a lot of teams do on Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's not that they initiated and took the fight, it's that they did not risk the pressure of the side lanes. If they do not get those kills very fast, very efficiently, this is the only opportunity that these gems and web weavers would get any kind of value for Ballistix. They walk back, they deny that, make sure it doesn't get too much onto the map, and now KSV not as good of a picture as it was before, but still very, very pretty.
Ballistix does have 10. We see Tranquility and Archon have that double dimensional shift as needed, and the survivability of Tranquility will try and do their best. Of course, the old bunker going down, but with level 10 here, despite not having enough gems on the side of Ballistix, there are for KSV, but having that level 10 allows them to try and defend here. They cannot afford to give up another in this area because that would give up the 13 and more pressure coming out from KSV. So they're going to have to defend well, but this bottom siege camp will have to draw some attention of Ballistix.
And it's within that window that you can expect KSV to apply pressure towards one of those turn-ins, or either that or a flank towards bottom. Ballistix, Jung Ha drops off a couple more gems up above. I feel like he's actually only the person who's actually turned in gems for Ballistix. Pulse Bomb used. It's just going to be a bit of threat, sending him to 50%. Rich then goes back in, gives him a nice slap to Moggy, give him a high five.
Let's kind of stack up that Pulse Bomb. You can see that thing stacks up quick once you get past level 10. Kyocha just barely interrupted there, almost had the turn in. Wouldn't have been enough for the Web Weaver phase, but definitely working towards that. KSV, a slight lead still over Ballistix, and Ballistix wants to make something happen before 13 as we see the Divine Shield go out there to save Kyocha.
Really good job there from Kyocha. Okay, so we see the Gust to be able to get the peel. Hold up, though. Falstad, he will get the flight out, not going to get pressured. I like the fact that he actually got that cancel there. We're not going to waste that cooldown in a moment where he might need it. But the Divine Shield and the Gust, once those two were stacked, rather than trying to, overcommit, we see a lot of teams go Panic Tormented, so all in now. Hold up, though, talking about the all in. Moggy under a lot of pressure. He's getting stacked with the Sanctification, the flip over.
Oh, big stun coming in there from Jung Ha, as well as the Dragon Arrow as well. And now we see Ballistix trying to turn the fight. They're getting close, but it's not enough again. Here at Ballistix, they're getting these fights now I think that they want. They just don't quite have the pop yet.
Trying to look down the, in the future talent tiers, does that change around? Hold up though, Tiss.
I think a lot of it's going to be on the Archon, the Tassadar completing that Psystorm, getting the Psionic Echo at 16, but that is such a long ways away, Dread.
It is a very long ways out, and with the 13 here, Taunt goes out on to Tyrael. Tiss is going to use the Holy Ground to get the split, forcing the bunker. See the bunker deaths as always. Kyocha falling very, very low. Gust's going to buy a bit of time, but he's going to be flipped back. Tist not going to survive this one, goes into the Angel form. Rich is actually not committing. He gets rooted by Moggy. Then he gives the Pulse Bomb out. He goes in, gets the recall and the party gift. Divine Shield to stop the Groundbreaker. Rich and friends get the kill and make that a 1-for-1.
They needed that. They needed that big time, and Rich was able to get that out. But now Ballistix, they're going to see if they can get a turn in for themselves. They have enough gems, but they have not been able to complete the turn. And Jung Ha sitting on the ones that they need to finish this. And it looks like Ballistix should be able to get this. And this is a major play for them. They desperately needed this, but they have to regain their composure, get those health bars back up. You can see Hooligan and team, they're waiting for the return of Malfurion.
Yeah, and if you look at what this map looked like before with the 10 spike and the sacrificing of the original Web Weaver phase for Ballistix, it's a miracle that they are at this point of the game. So much so that you got to be starting to wonder, and the fact that KSV failure to commit to either one, any fort on the map. They're all very close to being, this kind of experience on reserve, but you got to be wondering, is that something that's setting them back and making these team fights and the initiations a bit more difficult for them? Meanwhile, though, Web Weaver phase is here. Mouthdale getting the clear on bottom. Rest of Ballistix looking to get their focus on mid. Jet Propulsion not going to land.
It feels like Jung Ha was trying to predict that Rich would try and blink backwards out of that, and Rich not taking the bait there. But Rich sitting on a Pulse Bomb. He'll look for another opportunity as a fort falls on the side of KSV. Ballistix pushing forward just a bit, but there's still forts on the top and bottom. I think if they can get that, they can consider it a bit of a win. They turn their attention here to the top lane.
Garrosh trying to scout out the transition of KSV if they're going to defend. this top 4. 25 gems exist in the hands of Ballistix. 86 here for KSV. Both teams look like they're going to be backing out, looking towards their night camp. Look at this boss transition over from KSV Black. Very cleverly done, but nobody's going to actually commit to anything like. I guess they were just scouting. I'm guessing that was an Eldruin over the wall, not knowing if they're on the night camp or the boss. They
set all the right tools. They had Tyrael go up. He's got holding ground. They had Falstad nearby.
In case you need the Gus.
Yeah, a couple of people that could hop over a wall and take control of things, but it was not needed. But now we've got the night camp pushing through the middle, and that's going to open up an opportunity for KSV to get the turn in. That's all that they need, but Jung Ha right now doing a good job of delaying. I don't know how much more he has, though.
I want to know how many gems Falstad has, because if he has enough for a solo turn-in, that would be an opportunity on the bottom lane right now. Very few people looking to get that goaltending. Now everybody kind of transitioning the way down. I guess it can't be that much, because we see about 70 gems just between the members on screen.
Got ourselves a skirmish going on here as we see KSV. Looks like a taunt was used as we heard the screams of Garrosh, and now Ballistix pushing forward, threatening back KSV. They are a little bit closer to 16 is KSV as we've got the stun coming in here. The Roots follow-up, Tist on the front line, able to Eldruin's out.
Rich is in a tough position there for a moment, but now Sake is going to be the focus. Smite is being used. Dragon Arrow immediately after that Divine Shield, flawlessly timed, cost now Sake his life, but it might be more than that. Tist able to TP over. Uther heals are enough, and he survives. There is almost no gems lost through this transition, but there might be a lot more than that on the line, as this is now possibly a keep.
They've got the Knight here, which gives them that spell armor, and Reset recognizes they need to keep the keep alive. And it all starts with getting some control, regaining this, but the stun, the flip back, the taunt is going to be there. Sanctification goes down. Rich coming in forward, coming in hot, trying to put out the damage, but it's met by the Tranquility, and now we see Ballistix turning their attention back towards this keep.
It's very much going to be the I was going to say very much going to be the first keep of the game, but for a moment there, Kyoto 1 versus 5 was flexing, just trying to zone them away, and Ballistix was like, wait, do we want to be worried about this? But no, they identify the situation, are going to move up now. There's not enough gems to get a follow-up Webweaver phase, and keep in mind that both top and mid forts still exist, so when it comes to rotations and information on the map, it's not like because they're keepless, KSV is kind of informationless. 103 gems, though, for KSV. You know they want to get this turn-in. Rich now has enough for a solo turn-in if he wants to try and get one on bottom. The only other member who has the opportunity to do that should be Malthael there with 48. So always keep track of them whenever they're split on either one of these turn-ins.
See Rich trying to make something happen there, holding on to 43 of those. Jung Ha just barely misses. Here comes the flank. Here comes the Gust. They're flown in. They are clumped up right now, Dread.
But the post bomb ended up landing on the Tassadar. He falls very, very low with Bunker. They buy a bit of time. They're going in, going out. SCE drops so very quick. Reset trying to get the damage out, and he ends up getting the kill. Reset low. Rich gets the heal, eats a Dragon Arrow. The cleanse is there. The taunt is used, but it's too late here as Hooligan is next to drop. Kyoto pops the Tormented Souls. Reset's going to go ahead and fly right in. Say, sup, boys. Magi is out of here. That is such a clean play from KSV, and the moment where I expect them to open up this map.
This is a major turnaround for them. Their boss play is available if they want to go boss turn in, and it looks like they're going to do just that, Dreadnought. And what was a fairly even game with the keep going down, however, on the side of KSV, this is a firm control over this game, and now with that top level push, they should be looking at not just the keep, or not just the fort, but the keep as well behind them.
It should be noted that, remember when I was kind of, maybe criticizing or at least negative tone a little bit about the lack of focus on those forts? It's going to be really valuable right now, because normally when you look at this, you go, all right, how much experience are they going to get? But we have to remember that there's 2 forts that are inevitably going to die at the exact same time of this process, making it significantly faster on the race to 20 than you normally see at this Webweaver phase. So Fort 1, there's the drop. Fort number 2, when that dies on mid, that's 19. Top fort on 3, that's 19 3/4. That means that keep front wall is likely to be the 20 spike, which is far sooner than we normally see in this type of situation.
Very good spot for KSV to be in. There goes that fort falling. You can see on the mini-map, Malthael working on that. Catapults are defending that lane, so it's not something you have to hard defend, but you have to keep an eye on the Falstad. As you can see, Blaze has now put his attention down there. Keep wall. 1 tower falls, there's 20.
Let's see, when does Reset try and make the play? It's actually going to be on Jung Ha, completely isolated the bunker. Going to buy a lot of time, not enough damage to get the kill there, and no pressure out with the Flight Gus opportunities here. I guess without the Gus, not so much a flank Gus opportunity, but Epic Mount was a choice, even though if we look at the last flank, not even needed. Really good use from the just one barrel roll, using the mobility off of that, and enough to get the fight here for Reset and friends.
Reset will likely get this camp, try maybe fly back or hearth back and then fly in and get the turn in, because this is not just one turn in, but now we're going back to back. And so when they come in with this is not just one keep, maybe 2 keeps, and with a 20-tier advantage, Dread, you can rest assured this team will be aggressive with their positioning to maybe try and close this out and take this Eastern clash.
Yeah, with Epic Mount, you know that you have got to be so concerned. Every single front wall that's going to drop here onto these keeps is now, when it disappears, it is likely that you can see, oh, we have to be considering our positioning just because that Epic Mount into the Gus. Notice how Falset has not shown himself on the map whatsoever, at least yet. So now making the transition towards bottom. I believe there was a minion that did catch his transition, but if they step out, now that his gate is down, he can easily move up, get the flank, and gust out all of Ballistix. Mid-Web Weaver now cleaned. KSV makes the transition down below to bottom keep.
This should be a keep. Balling, there's the flight, there's the gust. Can they get the follow-up? Jongha's gonna be there in the stun. Rich is gonna be thwarted by the ice block there. Ballistix holding on. The keep is likely to fall, but we get the stun toss over on the Tist, who uses the sanctification, goes down the bunker and everything. The Dragon Arrow comes in and takes down Tist.
With the jet propulsion, so much damage there, but it's only 1 kill so far. Kyocha just barely able to get out of range, dodge the scattering arrow and that groundbreaker. Bottom keep was first to drop. The top web weaver getting a bit of damage towards the top keep, but not enough to secure it below 60%. That death does end up happening, but there's still enough gems for a web weaver phase here for KSV. 4 seconds left till the turn-in is possible. Rich is looking to zone. He does not need to turn in for this turn-in to be possible. Very good decision-making here, and convenient that it's on to Tracer, one of the best zoners in this moment.
This is going to be an insane defense. Level 20 will be here for Ballistix, so they will have something to try and say, hey, look, we can stand our ground in the middle of the lane instead of falling back like they had to do before. The members of KSV, they're going to tap well. Dread, they are looking to end this game right here, right now.
It's absolutely... oh my gosh. I don't even know. Ballistix has to find a way past one of these objectives and get this skirmish.
Got to fight it out. I mean, they have catapults mid, so it's a little bit to their liking. They can clear this mid and then fall back to those bottom lanes. The top lane is pushed way far out. The bottom lane has the catapults in that lane.
But if you split up, Falset is going to capitalize on that misposition. You have to stay as a group and have to stay clumped up.
Garrosh's positioning here is... okay, there he goes. I was going to say, like, I don't know what he's looking for there. Unable to find the pathing, but the bottom has to be cleared out by Blaze. You've got Psionic Echo here from Tassadar. This is mega wave clear, and if you can get that,
Rich,
there's the taunt!
Rich! He goes too far out. The groundbreaker, the flip is enough, and that is 60 seconds with him dead. The moment
they're even going to hold the keep here, Dread.
Yes!
Are you kidding me?
Rich gets caught out too far, and once again, Ballistix punish him, get the kill, and that is the only way they were able to hold on to this game.
That boss has got to be somewhat soon. I don't know the timer on it, but you have Hanzo if that does come available, but you also have gems available to turn in. Still 35 seconds before Rich is back on the battleground. It looks like they're going to try and get the turn in, get these lanes pushed out. We see Falset on the bottom. If he can get these Siege Giants, this is a major counter, not only towards that lane, because it will clear it instantly, but you also have catapults. And the catapults plus Siege Giants have to be cleared out quickly, Dread, because those will actually win the lane.
Or at least catch Hanzo if he tries to prep this lane. This is very crucial. This is very, very scary for the Hanzo. Falset, he goes forward. SE already burnt the scattering arrow, has to use the passive. That's going to allow for a bit of damage here. Look at Tyrael. They are going to go for backdoor. They 100% think that they have to end this game right now. The rest of the members are going to look to delay that, but they're going to use the Sanctification and the Gust to try and get the all-in with these Giants.
We might have a race on our hand. We might have the Falstad Tyrael in the bottom lane. Ballistix starting to hearth back. They know that there is some threat. Multiple members of Ballistix have gone back. They recognize there's not enough there. That's too much of a risk. Dread, I feel like maybe the play if they can get it. They don't get the Falstad there, but can they use the Hanzo? Maybe look for a boss, maybe something, because right now I don't think either team have enough for a turn-in. This is still any man's game. This is an insanely tense moment here for both teams.
The big thing at hand here, with 36 gems in the hand of Ballistix and 33 there for KSV, is all about the boss. That is the win condition for both of these teams.
Luckily for KSV Black, they have opposite side of the map pressure with the Night Camp sieging out. Hooligan in a bad spot for a moment.
Oh no. Rich has Get Stuck, which can basically be the instant blow up. You can see the taunt into the Gust. This is desperate times right now. Sanctification and Gust were both used
Dragon
defensively.
Arrow!
Dragon Arrow's landed. Can they get the follow-up?
Not enough damage quite yet, but there goes the flip. Jungha tries to go in, drops a bunker. Kyoto using the Tormented Souls. Two-man jet propulsion locks down KSV, and that is now going to be 2 kills here on 2 Ballistix.
Malthael has cheated death. No one can stop him with that level 20 talent here, but SDE has in the Archon. Catapults are going in the core into the bottom lane, but now Ballistix with the Archon, the Infinite Archon. Can they keep this up? Reset on the backside. You also see Rich going in. Rich looking for the kill. Unable to find it just yet. Rich is in there, uses the pulse bomb, and misses
He recalls, and then the Epic flight out. They're actually zoning them off the core. They're perfectly dancing in and out here. There goes the knockup onto Kyoto. Bunker is dropped, throwing out the fire. The taunt reels them back in, and there is no way to cheat this death this time. 2 members of KSV are dead, and Ballistix is now taking this core. Gust is up.
It's up, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Tyrael is not enough. We see 23 minutes in. Reset is there. The Gust is there. It's buying time, 50% and falling. Ballistix looking to send it to a game number 7. Dreadnought, they have done just that.
I cannot believe that Ballistix held on to that game. We're talking, I mean, what was it, 8, 9?